So they changed it to projected winner now. Ha ha. Congratulations to all of you. They will play, they meaning the dirty media, will play their dirty games. But what happened on Friday? Yesterday. Sidney Powell, the attorney Lynn Wood, Louis Gohmert, Mike Pompeo, they were all sending very strong messages about the fate of Joe and the election thugs. These thugs, they're going to throw everything they can now. You know why? Because they got caught. All right. They know their fate. All right. And so why not throw everything, spaghetti on the wall, everything we can right now? I don't think there's any redemption. Honestly, I don't think there's any redemption for them right now. They may get it, maybe instead of 10 years in prison, they might get 9 years in prison. I don't know if they cooperate, because they'll throw everything they can because they more than likely have a brand new home waiting for them. The nearest prison awaits. Now, imagine this. Can you imagine general population for these thugs? I mean, picture an attorney general who is playing very dirty, and all of a sudden he has to go to general population. Yeah. Okay, now the rules have changed. American people were under their, meaning the corrupt government, set of rules. And that fake constitution under America, the corporation. Now it's the general population at prison's turn. They have their own set of rules over in prison. So, yeah, you guys, all you election thugs, that's what awaits for you. I know you're scared. You gotta be scared. Even Lynn Wood posted something pretty strong here, but I'll get to that in a second. In a few minutes. President Trump was pushing for justice reform. Many people have committed a misdemeanor or serving years in prison while the real crooks in government were getting away with murder. I'm going to stop right here. What that means is, let's say before marijuana became legal, maybe somebody was caught with, let's say, an ounce of marijuana. They were thrown in prison for, let's say, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. They were thrown in prison for that, for having possession of marijuana. Now that it's legal, okay, then, of course, things should change. But no, they're still keeping them in prison to serve their sentence. And President Trump saw this as, they need to get out because there's a lot more other bad criminals out there. Remember what Lynn Wood said in his interview with Howie Carr on the 10th. He said people were killing other people. All right, so there was murder involved. They're still sitting out. They're out free. Well, some of them are.
Executive order on imposing, this is EO 13808. Let me just make sure I got that right. Signed by Donald Trump, September 12th, 2018. This is executive order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and by the Constitution, it doesn't say of the Constitution, and the laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, 50 USC 1701, ETSEQ, GPAT, or IEEPA, the National Emergencies Act, 50 USC 1601, ETSEQ, NEA, Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, 8 USC 1182F, and the Section 301 of Title III United States Code. I, Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the ability of persons located in whole or in substantial part outside the United States to interfere in or undermine public confidence in United States elections, including through the unauthorized accessing of election and campaign infrastructure, of the covert disruption of propaganda and disinformation, constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and the foreign policy of the United States. Although there has been no evidence of a foreign power altering the outcome of vote tabulation in any United States election, foreign powers have historically sought to exploit America's free and open political system. In recent years, the proliferation of digital devices and internet based communications have created significant vulnerabilities and magnified the scope and intensity of the threat of foreign interference as illustrated in the 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment. I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with this threat. Accordingly, I hereby order Section 1. Not later than 45 days after the conclusion of a United States election, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any appropriate executive departments and agencies, shall conduct an assessment of an information indicating that a foreign government or any person acting as an agent on or on behalf of the foreign government has acted with the intent of purpose of interfering in that election. The assessment shall identify to the maximum extent ascertainable the nature of any foreign interference and any methods employed to execute the persons involved and the foreign government or governments that authorized, directed, sponsored, or supported it. The Director of National Intelligence shall deliver this assessment and appropriate supporting information to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security. So you guys know, I think it was the Secretary of Defense that was recently fired, and there's a whole bunch of them being fired right now. Within 40 days of receiving the assessment and information described in Section 1A of this order, the Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate agencies and as appropriate, state and local officials shall deliver to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of the Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, a report evaluating with respect of the United States election. That is the subject of the assessment described in Section 1. All right, I'm going to see if I can read that some more, but I want to go over here for a minute. Consumer Complaint Center. For those of you who are having difficulty with your cable companies, write to them in lieu of any misinformation that's being presented. I'll put this in the description below. It's the FCC Consumer Complaint Center, right? So you can go there. And then Nova L was interfered with. International authorities go and deal with the agents involved in that treason yesterday. You guys can go to BitChute, type in Noble L, and go to the, I think it's called Enough. Yeah, you'll see it posted there. Non-filers, this is the IRS. Non-filers, enter payment here. November 21st at 3 p.m. ET, deadline to request your economic impact payment. If you did not file a 2019, those of you who didn't file any tax papers, you can do this. File a 2019 federal tax return, get an economic impact payment, register. If you did not file a 2019 federal tax return, get an economic impact payment, register for an economic impact payment already. Then use a non-filer's enter payment info here by November 21st to register for your payment. For details, see topic requesting my economic impact payment, Social Security, Railroad, Retirement, Department of Veterans Affairs benefit recipient who already received a $1,200 payment now have until November 21st to register for a payment for their spouse or qualifying child. So you can do this if you have a spouse or a qualifying child who is eligible for the economic impact payment. U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and qualifying resident aliens who have a valid social security number, could not be claimed as a dependent or another taxpayer, and had adjusted gross income under certain limits. Who should use non-filers enter payment info here to provide information to receive the economic impact payment. Use a non-filers enter payment into I'm going to put the link to this in the description below. Your income is less than 12,000. You're married, filing jointly, and together your income is less than 24,400. You have no income. And then it goes on to read. So I'll put that in the description below. And then, hang on. Somebody sent me, they're claiming sovereignty. I just wanted to read this. And I was responding to them. Sovereignty, the union and exercise of all human power possessed in a state. And then I was linking them the South Carolina state information as well too. But I just wanted to read sovereign is a chief ruler and supreme power, one possessing sovereignty. This is the, hang on, let me see if I can, I want to say Bouvier's dictionary, but it's one of those dictionaries. Sovereign, a chief ruler with supreme power, one possessing sovereignty. It is also applied to a king or other magistrate with limited powers in the United States. The sovereignty resides in the body of the people. Sovereignty, English law. The name of a gold coin or Britain, gold coin of Britain, of Great Britain, of the value of £1 sterling. Sovereign state, one which governs itself independently of any foreign power. Sovereignty, the union and exercise of all human power, of all human power, of all human power. People, who are the humans on the planet? I think it's the indigenous people, the original indigenous people. The union and exercise of all human power possessed in a state. It is a combination of all power. Those of you who are Moors, nationals, heirs, go to RVBEYPUBLICATIONS.com, claim your nationality. Do not, do not, do not go to them with the word sovereignty. They will probably cuss you out because everybody who's a Moor understands or overstands what the word sovereignty actually means. It goes hand in hand with your nationality. It is not a nationality on its own accord, and hence a lot of those who had claimed sovereignty ended up in hot water. I myself had to write to get them out of jail. All right, several times over. Judges, you know who I'm talking about, right? So I try to tell people, if you have a particular nationality, claim that. If you are pink, do not claim you are blue or orange. If you are blue or orange, do not claim that you're green. Claim your proper status, your proper nationality. And don't tell us about your sovereignty. Sovereignty, it goes hand in hand with nationality, right? Anyways, it goes on to read abstractly. Sovereignty resides in the body of the nation. Hello, I just said that. Abstractly, sovereignty resides in the body of the nation and belongs to the people, but these powers are generally exercised by delegation. When analyzed, sovereignty is naturally divided into three great powers, namely the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The first is the power to make new laws and to correct. You know what just came to me? Oh my God. I'm reading this. Do you guys realize that I don't even know if I can say this, when they changed the Constitution, and they put in the fake Constitution, you realize they totally forfeited their positions, That's what Santa Surfer is reading and explaining to us. Thank you, Santa Surfer, for that. Abstractly, sovereignty resides in the body. Yeah, they're saying 120 days. 120 days, 120 days, there'll be another election, and then, yeah. When analyzed, sovereignty is naturally divided into three great powers, namely, yeah, and we're being targeted. We require an advocate. Yeah, yeah, our lives have been placed in jeopardy. Deal with it now, international authorities. When analyzed, sovereignty is naturally divided into three great powers, namely the legislative, executive, and judiciary. The first is the power to make new laws and to correct and repeal the old. The second is the power to execute the laws both at home and abroad, and which is what we do all day, every day. And the last is the power to apply the laws to particular facts, to judge disputes, the disputes which arise among the citizens and to punish crimes, which is what we do, right? Take your seats among men. Those of you who are Moors and heirs, take your seats among men. Wherever you are, whatever state territory you're in, you can now delegate, tell those agents what they need to be doing lawfully, right? You can do that in your areas, right? Like what we did for the entire planet. Come on, people. Strictly speaking, in our Republican forms of government, I want to say in the republic government, I don't like the whole of, the absolute sovereignty of, and I don't like of again, the sovereignty, the nation's sovereignty is in the people and their nationality. I'm changing it up because they switched and added the word of, and of means without. And there was, what? Something sovereignty of each state not granted to any of its public functionaries. Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to read that. So you guys go and claim your correct nationality, right? All right. So let me just continue reading this a little bit now. Back to this law here, this executive order. The extent of which any foreign interference that targeted election infrastructure materially affected the security or integrity of the infrastructure, the tabulation of votes, or the timely transmission of election results. If any interference involved activities targeting the infrastructure of or pertaining to a political organization, campaign, or candidate, the extent to which such activities materially affected the security or integrity of the infrastructure, including by unauthorized access to, disclosed or threatened disclosure of, or alteration of, falsification of, or information or data. Um, the report shall identify any material issues of fact with respect of these matters that the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security are unable to evaluate or react or reach agreement on at the time the report is submitted. The report shall include updates and recommendations when appropriate regarding the remedial actions to be taken by the United States government other than the sanctions described in Section 2 and 3 of this order. Heads of the relevant agencies shall transmit to the Director of National Intelligence any information relevant to the execution of the Director's duties pursuant to this order, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law. If relevant information emerges after the submission of the report, mandated by Section 1A of this order, the Director, in consultation with the heads of any appropriate agency, shall amend the report as appropriate, and the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall amend the report required by Section 1B. All right, you guys. Remember for those of you, thank you for those of you supporting us here. For those of you who wish to support us here, go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com. For those of you with tickets, citations, child support cases, mortgages, foreclosures, those of you having auto loans, student loans, warrants, and for those of you having to see an agent doing business as a parole officer, as well as those of you in having and those of you with warrants, and those of you in the churches doing business as jails for nonviolent offenses, you guys can email us for the GSA bonds to set off the matter at themullings@gmail.com, and then the 1099 OID to get back the finances they claimed you owed. Those of you with credit cards debts that are writing to us to set off those, what we did was we used the laws to third-party interlopers purporting a fraud debt and got it set off that way. You can do that. The GSA bonds you might be able to use as well too. So you can email us for those at themullings@gmail.com. I like to pray. Heavenly Father God, we pray, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving me the voice to get back on this platform, and just clear up all the corruption so we can go forward. I want to put a hedge of protection on all that is good. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, the Army, the Navy, the military, the Marines, and all that you guys hear me speak about here, and all the not so good ones that are losing their natural minds. Thank you for that. All right, so I'm going to put this in the description below so you guys can read the rest to see what is happening now. And yes, it's the Insurrection Act and a lot of these laws, these executive orders that are in place that's going on now. Hence why there's so many arrests right now, right? There was something else. All right, you guys, like, share, subscribe. You guys have yourself a great day. Remember to support us here. Go to PayPal at themullings@gmail.com and subscribe to Noble L II and the original channel. Thank you.